Hello everyone, it's Meg, and in this tutorial I'm really excited to show you how to build these adorable knight statues that I have designed. I say adorable just because it's so small compared to my others. It's really not a small statue when you look at it in game, it's just smaller compared to most of my statues. Anyway, we have two different versions of it, and I'm going to show you how to build the walking one first, and then after that I'll show you how to build the rearing one. You can build one or the other or both, depending on what you want to do, but let's go ahead and get started with the first one. The first statue, with the horse just trotting along, is going to fit in an area of 12 by 3 by 13, so you can reserve all the space you need for this statue. And here is a list of all of the blocks you will be needing. I'm not allowing any blocks here for any kind of base if you wanted to add a base to it, which I would recommend. I think it would look a lot nicer with one, but this is purely for the statue itself. I chose to use andesite all throughout for the horse just because all those textures really blend well together, and the polished andesite I chose for the armor on the knight himself because it's a little shinier of a block as opposed to just a regular stone block. Those plus the cobblestone walls we're going to be using for the tail on the horse. Those are the blocks that you can switch out if you wanted to. For the first statue, you're going to want to start it 4 blocks above the ground and get the middle layer built out. All the blocks that you're using should be marked on the left. If it's not obvious, the really skinny ones are walls and everything else is pretty self-explanatory. For my statue, I did leave a little hole in the head to represent the eye just because I like the size of it on this horse. You could possibly use a solid block with a button instead, but I personally like it this way. Now we just need to add the legs on either side, making it 3 blocks wide total, so it's pretty easy. Now in the grid, the stairs are pretty obvious what direction they need to face, although on the front legs you'll see there is this one stair that needs to be facing outward. Well, I say needs to. I have it facing outwards and I didn't really know how to mark it in the grid, but it really wouldn't make a difference how you place that stair. That's just what I did. And once you finish with these legs, that's all you need to do for the horse. You could leave it like it is, or you could go to the next step and add the knight to it. For building the actual knight, I think it's going to be easier for me to just show you block for block because of all the block variations we'll be using. So I'm going to be using polished andesite for the majority of the knight, but you can use any blocks you want. I think this will make it easier to actually see what blocks I'm placing, plus I think it looks nice as a shiny block. So we're going to want to locate this block right here on the back of the horse, the second one from the back, and place a single block there. On top of that, we'll place an anvil, and then on top of that, another single block. You'll have to shift click to get that on there correctly. Now for the helmet, we're going to be adding a smoker and putting a polished slab on top of that. I really like the look of the smoker. It kind of looks like a helmet already with the default textures. That is why I chose it. And because it has this brown on it, I also decided to cover the front and the back of the knight. So we're going to put 2 trapdoors on either side, on the front like that, and on the back, and it's just supposed to make it look like he's got some additional armor on the sides. Now for this one, the arms and the legs are going to be the same on each side. So for the legs, let's go ahead and place a stair right here, and then a slab in front of that, a bottom slab. And then below that, we need to put a wall. I'm going to use a stone brick wall because it looks best with this. Put another slab right here, right across from that slab on the horse. And then right here, we're going to be putting an anvil, and I need to get anvil in my slot again. That anvil's there just to give it a little more dimension and to make it look a little more interesting, like a boot or something. So let's just repeat that on the sides. So it's going to be stair, slab, slab down here, wall, and anvil. And the legs are done. Now for the arms, we're going to shift click right here on the anvil, right on the top of it, and place a slab there. Now we're going to get an upside down stair right next to that one. So I'm just going to put a placeholder block here, put one more block there, so the stair should be curving around just like that. And then on top of this, we're going to be putting a hopper, and I'm going to put a pressure plate on top of that just to cover up that hole and make it look like it actually has a flat top. And then in the front of this, you're going to want to get a grindstone and want to be standing right here when you place it so that the wooden parts are facing outwards, because the gray part is supposed to be his hand and the wooden part is going to be the reins that he's holding. So let's go ahead and repeat that whole process on this side. It's going to be a slab and then an upside down stair just like that, a hopper, pressure plate, and then grindstone. Just make sure you're shift clicking a lot to get these in the right spots. So at this point you should have a knight that looks like this. All we have to do is pretty much add the reins and his weapon that he is carrying. So for the reins, let's go ahead and start by putting a dark oak gate right there, and that will just connect everything nicely to look like it actually connects to the other side. And now for the sides, we're going to put a couple of daylight sensors and then a slab. I like the daylight sensors because not only do they blend well with the grindstone, they're just slightly thinner than a regular slab, but unfortunately I couldn't make them angle all the way down, and I liked how this angled down, which is why I switched it out for a slab. But anyway, let's go ahead and do that again. On this side, 2 daylight sensors and then a slab. Now the last thing we have to add is the weapon. Go ahead and take a regular fence, shift click on this hand or whatever hand you want him to be carrying it, and go up 4 blocks, and then put an iron bar on top of that, and then 1 below. So there is our knight on his horse. He looks fantastic. For the second knight with the rearing horse, he's going to fit in a 12 by 3 by 15 area, just a couple blocks taller than the other one. And here's a list of all the blocks you'll need for this guy. This knight has the same style as the first one, so I'm going to be using the same types of blocks. With just, of course, slight differences in numbers based on the way the statue is built. It's going to be built a little bit differently naturally because it's a different pose. We're going to start once again 4 blocks off of the ground, so you'll have to measure 4 blocks up and then build out the shape. Once again, we're using the same blocks I used before, andesite for the body and cobblestone for the mane and the tail. And once you have the middle laid out, you can go ahead and add the legs on either side. And these are pretty straightforward, nothing super special about them. You can always pause the video if you need to, or if you think I'm going too fast. If you know a better way of doing these legs, I know it's kind of inconsistent. Some are using walls and some are using stairs, but this was the best I could come up with on this scale. And that's all there is to this statue. You could leave it as is, or add the knight, as we are about to do. This knight is going to be pretty much the same as the first one if you already built that, but I'm going to walk you through it again. Using polished andesite, we're going to start right here in the second block from the main, do a solid block, an anvil, and a block on top. And once again, just like the other one, a smoker, and then a slab. And if you didn't watch the first one, I explained what all of these things are for, if you want to go back and rewatch that. But let's go ahead and put trapdoors on the front and the back. Just place 2 on the corners like that, and then open them up to look like little bits of armor. Now the legs are going to be the same on this one, on each side. So let's go ahead and take a couple slabs and put them just like so on the bottom and then the top. And then right here, we're going to need an upside down stairs, so let's place 2 stairs to get it upside down like that. Then a slab right next to that, and then we'll need a wall going down, and then for the foot, we're just going to do a stair facing in that direction, just like so. Now let's repeat that on the other side. So it's going to be slab, an upside down stair, another slab, wall, and a stair going across, a stair going across like that. Now the arms are going to be different on each side, but just very slightly. So let's go ahead and work on this right arm first. For this one, we're just going to be placing 2 slabs right here on this top half of where the anvil is. On top of this, we'll place a hopper with a pressure plate on top of that, and then the grindstone facing this direction so that the brown parts are facing that way. For the left arm, we are going to be using stairs instead of slabs, so right next to the anvil, place an upside down stair facing backwards. Then right in front of that, we'll place a stair like this, so it should be creating that angle. And then on top of that, don't forget you put your hopper with your pressure plate. Then right in front of this, diagonally from the stair is where we need our grindstone. So place one here, and shift click on that to make sure it's facing the right direction, and this is how it should look. It should be 1 block higher than the one on the other side. Now we just have to add the reins. So go ahead and take a daylight sensor, and on this side it's just going to be 3 daylight sensors straight across. And on the other side it's going to be 2 going across here, and then 1 slab going down to connect it. Next, all we have to do is add his weapon, and just like before, it's going to be 4 dark oak fences on top of that grindstone. and then put your iron bar on top, and one more fence below. And there is our knight statue all done. And that is all I have for you for this tutorial. I hope you liked it. It was my first time trying something on this scale, and I actually think it turned out really well. So I hope that you enjoy it too, and that you'll be able to use it for all kinds of cool things in your world. If you'd like to see more small scale statues like this, I wouldn't be opposed to trying out other ones. I just like building bigger usually, but I think these ones turned out very well, and I just had to make a video on it. Have a great rest of your day, and have fun building!